sleeves. The security guard showed paramount common sense by not saying and doing anything and letting us continue or proceed on our trip. Your life is not like mine. We were taking gifts from my relatives in India, Hyderabad, India. You have your own upbringing, education, breakthroughs in learning, training, coaching, and experiences. You are unique, different, and in leadership. I believe each of you have gifts, talents, and skills you're looking for a robust life, a better living, and a better future. That's the problem I solve for my clients. The issues or challenges for my clients is simply, I ask them, are you living, achieving your dreams and clear goals? Why do we dream? Think about it. Without dreaming, you have no vision. It's proven a person would literally go insane without dreaming. Some of you aren't living your dreams, and some of you are living, achieving your dreams in silos. We can't live dreams in silos without them being interconnected to your life, your business, and your sports. I include sports because I also help and work with sports teams. If you're one to not like sports, insert hobbies. Without the interconnectedness of living, achieving your dreams and clear goals to your life, your business, and sports, we have a major crisis. It's a waste of time, energy, emotion, resources, funding, money, financial. However, when we are interconnected, we have congruence, coherence, synchronicity. In a company, business, organization, I read and hear about the importance of increasing employee or player engagement and retention. If you're interested, ask your employees or players, are they living, achieving their dreams and clear goals? By building the relationship with your employees or players, you're able to align and hire the right people and screen the right people aligned to your mission, purpose, and vision, interconnected with their life, their business, and then in their sports. To get better at your employees or players' engagement and retention. So you know the importance of dreams. They evolve your vision. Now, do you have clear goals? A friend of mine asked me, Raj, what do you do? I said, I'll pick you up at your home and we'll go for a ride. Naturally, if I go for a ride with him, he asks, where are we going? What's the clear goal? What's the destination? Why is it important to me? I said, well, we'll drive over to my home where I raised my family. And then we'll go across the intergalactic hallway to my office and the area where I service my clients. And you can observe. And while you're observing me with my family, with my business, with my clients, and doing my work, you'll see that I'm writing in my notebook or I do my exercises writing in my notebook, your Raise the Bar primer, mental performance tools to help you consistently perform, living and achieving my dreams and clear goals. It makes it much easier. And while you're observing me, you'll have your own clear dreams when you get to my place, my office, and where I meet with clients. And you'll establish your own clear goals. What position does it put you in to practically succeed to the next level, winning sustainable growth? As you accomplish your dreams and clear goals, you discover your new gifts, talents, and skills by making breakthroughs in learning and applying the learning. Take bits, pieces of my words or all my words, my stories, my examples, inspiration, and motivation, and call upon them often towards your current situation to sustainably grow and at a future time. I'll be attending SuccessFest sessions and the keynote with Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. The reasons are I too take the bits, pieces, or all of the words, stories, examples, inspiration, and motivation, and call upon them towards my current situation to winning sustainable growth and at a future time. Each of you is unique, different, and in leadership. I believe you have gifts, talents, and skills. You do have gifts, talents, and skills. I will give you 2 stars flashing, blinking stars. They flash red, white, and blue. One is for you. You choose who to give it to. Talk to them about the meaning of my event to you. And the other is for you to keep as a memento to remember this event. Live achieving your dreams and clear goals interconnected with your life, business, and sports. It's beautiful. You get to choose your dreams and clear goals. Each of you is a star. Shine brighter. You set the example.
Greetings and welcome. I am Dr. Evelyn Bethune, and our workshop today is going to be on transformative servant leadership, releasing the greatness in you. You see, all of us have greatness in us. It's just that many times we don't approach it, we don't reach for it, we don't step into it. And this is brought to you by History in the Making Coaching Network. As you can see, what I'm talking about today is just a little bit about how greatness is on your DNA. I know it's on my DNA. You see, my grandmother is Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. So I have no options as it relates to failure. In other words, what? Failure is not an option. If you want to get in touch with me, of course, you can reach me at Dr. Evelyn Bethune, Doc Evelyn at hitmcn.org. Phone number 386-265-3733. www.hitmcn.org. I want to get right into the meat of things, because one of the things that we believe and one of the things that we talk about through SuccessFest 21 is that leaders are readers, meaning you have to be informed. Many times we jump into things and what I call surface knowledge. We don't have a deep dive. We just repeat what we've heard, what headline is in the news today, and yet we call ourselves leaders. And we are repeating that information to people who really need a great piece of input from us. And so what we're giving them is what I call half information. We're giving them no insights, no basis for decisions that they're making, and no real good thrust on how to move forward. Several of the books that I would recommend would be Dr. Dennis Kimbro, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, What Makes the Great Great. Dr. Kimbro is on point most of the time, 99.9%, simply because no human is perfect. I also highly recommend the book by Congressman John Lewis, Across the Bridge. And he gives us a very clear view of what servant leadership is about. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. And you have to be willing to not accept no for an answer. There's another compilation that I call a Pause for Inspiration. And I want to show you what it looks like, because I don't have the author's name, but these are books that I recommend for your reading. It is really important that servant leaders read. Dr. Trudy Kibbe Reed the caring community. And of course, my book, Dr. Evelyn Bethune, Out of Darkness into the Light of Freedom. It's a book about the life of Mary McLeod Bethune, who, not just because she's my grandmother, but because within her was a faith that was so strong, she never thought that she could not accomplish the things she set out to do. I always say, what an incredible faith to have, to come from being the daughter of people who were enslaved in this country to an advisor to 4 United States presidents. That is an incredible legacy. And then, of course, we have Dr. Ivan van Sertima. Dr. van Sertima writes, they came before Columbus. And we're in the midst of this controversy, of course, on the 1619 Project, critical race thinking. And it's about thinking about racial inequities in this country in a critical light. As we take on leadership positions, you cannot ignore race. You cannot ignore the dialogue that needs to be had. And it seems that that is one of the things that we are incredibly afraid to talk about. Nobody wants to take a deep dive into the root cause of where we are today, the situation that we find ourselves in. All of a sudden, being Black is popular, thanks to some very heinous crimes that have been committed against Black people. And the fact that everybody now has a cell phone, so you can videotape everything. Some realities have come to the forefront on the 6 o'clock news. And I told someone that it reminds me very much of the Vietnam War, when all of a sudden there was news coverage on the bodies lying in the street. Before that time, people didn't really think about the effect of the war because it wasn't happening here. We didn't have to look at it. We didn't have to smell the smoke, feel the heat, or know that children were being killed. Today, it's the same kind of thrust into the media because everybody has a cell phone and people have become tired. They're no longer afraid to take that video. Humble does not mean weak. And I say that because a lot of times we forget that leadership entails some humility. Because you have followers doesn't give you the right to be arrogant, doesn't give you the right to be condescending to people or view them as less than you. Because for all the gifts you have, God has given gifts to others. And so if we believe in the things that we say we believe, servant leadership means that you serve the people. And so when we look at transformative servant leadership, we have to be able to be accessible, to put our arrogance aside. Because let me tell you, arrogance is anchored in pride, and pride often leads us to behaviors that are based on fear. Fear causes acts of desperation, and that's how people find themselves in the ditch. There's a great strength in being compassionate. We talk about being more like Jesus. We want to love our neighbor, but we don't check on our neighbor. During COVID, we isolated and we became more separate than we have ever been. And neighborhoods are no longer neighborhoods. Communities are no longer communities. Nobody knows each other. People don't do anything. We have to get beyond that. We have to learn how to say good morning and not feel out of place. If you know your worth, you value certain things, and you don't let people devalue you. You don't allow people to disrespect you. My dad used to tell us that people will do to you whatever you allow them to do. And so if you intend to be respectful, to be respected, then you must be also respectful. When you don't recognize your purpose, you don't know your value, you'll never find your greatness. Your purpose can only be brought to greatness by you. It is that special thing that God placed within you that nobody else can do. There may be 10,000 artists, but none of them will be like you. There's a Burger King, a McDonald's, Wendy's, they all make money, but they don't do it the same. It's the same thing with that gift. You may think that there's a great speaker out there and you'll never be like them. Well, God's intention was not for you to be like them. God's intention was for you to be you and to multiply that gift many times over. You see, you don't want to be that servant that buried their gift and it reaped no fruit. You want to plant that seed and see a sequoia grow. You want to see a tree so big you can't see the top of it. And you want the fruit to multiply in so many different ways. You want it to be generational. You can't do that if you don't know what you're worth. You have nothing to share. This is one of my grandmother's sayings: invest in the human soul. It might be a diamond in the rough. All that simply means is to stop throwing pearls after swine. Know what you are investing in and start with yourself. It is so important that we understand the value that we bring to a project, to a community, to our homes, that we are necessary, we are needed, but you're needed as yourself, your authentic self. Invest in reaching that goal. Invest in digging deep, reading, understanding, teaching. Take your time and know it is critical that you spend some time with you, getting to know you. Knowing your worth does what? Allows you to feel good about investing in yourself. And then investing in yourself, you're sowing seeds. You're going to plant and your fruit will grow. Learn to nurture and love that fruit, because that is what you're going to pass on to someone else. And you want to be able, as a servant leader, to teach them how to grow their own fruit, how to plant seeds, to be patient and watch it grow. That's part of your investment. Time is money, and you don't want to waste it. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. So spend time being the best self that you can be. Be accessible. Don't separate yourself from the people that you call yourself leading. How many times have you gone somewhere and you went there to meet this really great person, you paid your however much money, and you could not even get close to them because there were so many people in their entourage that you got separated, that they really didn't spend any time with the people that supposedly they were leading, mentoring, talking to, trying to transform. And you got to see close up and personal what that feels like. Or you're having a conversation with someone. You're talking to them and they appear to be engaged until something passes by and all of a sudden they're looking over your shoulder, or they're not really hearing what you're saying. That is not transformative servant leadership. That's selfishness. That's that thing that says, I'm better than you. And that's not the type of greatness where you think you're so great, yet you're not. The size of your entourage does not determine the level of your success. One of the best presidents this country had was Jimmy Carter. He didn't travel with a whole lot of people. And even as a former president, he is so accessible. He's farming, he's building houses. Even at his age, he and his wife are doing incredible work because they truly believe in the God that they serve. They believe in the work that they're putting forward and the transformation that they bring to communities, to people who engage them. That's the kind of person who knows who they are. They're not fearful of what somebody's going to think or if somebody's going to like them, because it's really not about that. In today's world, with social media, people brag about, oh, I have 5,000 likes. Well, how many of those people do you actually know? How many do you actually come in contact with? How many do you actually share great knowledge with and help them to move forward? Probably just a few hundred, maybe, if you're good. Why not work at getting to know some of that 5,000? Spending time sending personal messages to them that say, have a great day. Or what is it that you do? Because maybe they have a product that will service your business, but you don't know because you never come in contact with them. How many likes should not be the determining factor of how successful you think you are. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not buying your products. They're also not sharing at a level past the surface or a quick Instagram hit. Take your time. Have patience. Know yourself. Grow your product. In many cases, the product is you. If you have so many people around you, all that white noise gets in the way. Sometimes you can't even hear yourself think because there's so many people telling you what you should be doing, what you ought to do, how you ought to do it. And it may not be based on the gift that you bring. It may not fit the paradigm that God has designed just for you. It may not be about your purpose. You may be growing the dreams of others while yours is languishing on the side. Be accessible, not just to the people out here, but to the one in here, so that you can become your best self. I love this one. God did not give us a spirit of fear. Yeah, we're scared every day. We get up, we say, Lord, help me do what I'm supposed to do. We say our prayers, and then we start to think about everything that could possibly go wrong before we even step out of the door. Fear leads to hopelessness. Hopelessness leads to desperation. Desperation leads to failure. Remember, failure is not an option. So stop being scared. You cannot be afraid to step into your greatness. You cannot be afraid to speak your word. You cannot be afraid to teach that thing that God has placed within you to teach. But in order to teach it, you have to know what's there. You can't teach what you don't know. Take some time. I always spend a segment on, just getting quiet and still on a regular basis. Put that on your calendar. I need 1 hour of quiet and still, at least 1 hour every day, just to get your thoughts in order so that you're not walking around in a fog. You're not bouncing off the walls like you're inside a pinball machine. Take time to know who you are. Take time to know that we all get a little nervous. We all have fear, but do not let fear overtake you. Fear is a tool of the enemy. What we see today, all of the hatred that we see on the street, is anchored in fear. That has been like kindling on top of a stack of wood. The fire that it has created is one that many people worry whether we're going to be able to put that fire out or not. Because you see, people have become emboldened in their hatred and in their acts of hate. It has become this thing that tells people they're in the right and everybody else is wrong. And they have been made to believe it's okay to die for that. Or worse, kill someone else. Stop being afraid. Greatness lies within you, but you can't get to it if you're scared. You have to step into it. You have to own it. You have to live it. You have to speak it. Find your voice. And don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. You know, I have friends who say that ever since they've known me, I have never been afraid to speak what I think. I've learned to temper it with, a conscious mind, because there was a time when I didn't. Whatever came up, came out. And then, I remember some of the things my dad used to say and my mom, because I had great parents. That's a plus. Having great parents. Sometimes you don't realize how great they are until you've got children of your own. And then you marvel at the miracles that your parents had to have worked in order to get through each day. That's how I know that greatness is within me. And that I have to be about the business of bringing it to the forefront. And I want to show you how to do that too. You see, being great is a whole lot of things. And the one thing that it's not about strutting around like a rooster. Take a leap of faith into your purpose and step into your greatness. Absolutely. We have to trust the things that we're not sure of. We trust things all the time that we don't know about. I have no idea about how to fly an airplane. Yet when I travel, I'm sitting on that plane trusting that it's going to take off and land safely. I'm not the mechanic, and I'm sure not the pilot, but I trust that it's going to be okay. I have to be able to do that with me, to stop doubting myself, to take that leap, to get out there and to live my purpose. I can't look back and say, oh, how much time I wasted. Oh, if I had only done this 20 years ago. Well, 20 years ago, maybe it wasn't the right time. Sometimes, as the saying goes, you can't see the forest for the trees. You have to hunker down, get quiet and still, take a minute, sometimes take a day or two, if that's what's necessary. You see, you can't doubt yourself and step into your greatness. You have to be self-assured. You have to trust that what you know is what you know. You do that by doing what? Educating yourself, being well-read, doing the research, understanding what the process is, and surrounding yourself with people you can trust, who are not going to just be bobbleheads and nod their head at every single thing that you say and take it for gospel truth when it may just be garbage. You want to surround yourself with people who are about the business of stepping into their greatness. who enjoy the synergy that's created when we're all pulling in the same direction. We may not be working on getting it done the same way, but we have that direction, that focus, that goal that unites us. That is critical. Get from around naysayers. Don't spend time with people that are trying to break your dreams. You want to be with people who encourage you, people who lift you up, but are also willing to tell you when your slip is showing or when that button is about to pop. Or if your dress is too short, your pants are too tight, they won't let you leave the house looking jacked up and you walking around thinking that you're looking great. You don't want to be like DT, okay? They let him walk around with toilet paper on his shoe in front of the media. You don't need friends like that. It was funny. I got a great laugh from it. But I thought, wow, he's the president of the United States. And they let him walk around with toilet paper stuck to his shoe. Obviously, he didn't have any friends in that circle. Don't let that be you. Take a leap of faith into your purpose and step out into your greatness. But do that around the people who appreciate your greatness and want to see you shine. Don't be around those that are throwing shade all the time. This is critical. If you want to be an incredible, transformative servant leader, you have to be honest. You have to be filled with integrity and working in that, not just know what it means, but putting it to action. When you do those two things, it's easy to be transparent because you have nothing to hide. Tell your story. My dad used to say, talk about your mess yourself so that others can't use it as a weapon to beat you and put their twist on it. Tell your story because it will help somebody else. Too often, people think nobody else is going through this thing that I'm going through. When truth be told, a whole lot of people might be going through. Sometimes they're going through the same thing. Sometimes it's even worse. And sometimes when you're not honest, when you're not living in integrity, God will place you into a situation that will bring out the real you. And the prayer is that it will be that great you that is anchored in faith, understanding that there is forgiveness and you can fix what you broke. Now, maybe some of you say, well, I've never broken anything. Well, give it time, you will. And in the midst of it, find your way back to a place where you can shine your light and feel good about the work that you do. I can tell you, when you're not honest, when you are not working in integrity, you will hate what you do. And you will also hurt the people that you care about the most. Many times we do things thinking it only affects me. What you do never just affects you because it's like a ripple on the brook. And it can either be a small ripple or it can be a tidal wave. If you work in honesty and integrity, you earn the respect of those around you. And sometimes, even if people don't like you, they will respect the fact that they know that's the truth. If you want to know, ask her. She's going to give you the truth. He's going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. Maybe we wish he'd say it another way or she'd say it another way, but it's the truth. Live up to the standards that you set for others. Too often, we hold people to a higher standard than we're willing to live up to. Tell your story so that others can be inspired and find their way to greatness. Honesty plus integrity equals transparency, because once again, when you are honest and living in integrity, it is easy to be transparent. Don't be afraid to find your own path. Step out of the shadow of your mentors and let your own light shine. So often, we look up to people and we've spent a lot of time helping them grow and develop themselves. We have helped them to be the best that they can be. And we respect them at a level that is so high that we put ourselves on the back burner, because somewhere in our mind, we have decided that if I step out here, I may overshadow what it is they're trying to do. That's not the purpose that God placed you in. Don't be afraid to step out of their shadow at some point. It's great to have mentors, but the whole purpose is for you to grow and develop so that you can mentor others. That's the value. Let your light shine, not so that it blinds the mentor, but so that it adds brightness to whatever it is you're trying to do. It can be difficult to step away from the mentors that you admire. And the prayer is always that your mentor or that person that you respect won't feel that you're trying to take light from them or give them shade. If that happens, they're not the person that you thought they were. It is better to create than to mimic. You want to be able to create that environment that God placed in you to create. You want to shine light on those things that you know about, the things that you have practiced and learned and worked your entire life to be able to share with others. You see, there is no value in keeping it all to yourself. A lot of times people know stuff, they don't want to share it. They know how to be financially stable, but they don't want to tell anybody because they want the light to shine on them. I have friends that I have helped them grow, and I say friends with a really shaky wow moment, because sometimes they're not really friends. They're only there to get what they can get. I have helped people grow their own businesses by sacrificing mine. Stop doing that. It's okay to help other people. It's okay to bring your value to somebody else so that they can also advance. But don't throw away the gift that God gave you, because you may not be able to get it back again. Timing is everything. If you miss that window, it may not open again. You may have to try to find a crack in the sidewalk to crawl under the door. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Don't be afraid to find your own path. Okay? Because that's where you will find the greatest gifts. Creating paths of your own. As Trevor would say, time to be disruptive. Shout, make some noise, agitate, speak your truth, find your voice. If you want to make a difference, you can't do it sitting back quietly waiting to see what's going to happen. You have to jump out there. You have to try that new thing that you have going on in your mind. You have to be prepared, have patience, and when it's your time, do it. If God opens that door, don't stand there trying to figure out, well, did God open the door or did go through the door? If you get over there and you don't like it, you can always come back out. If you make a mistake, you mess something up. My dad used to say that's why they put erasers on pencils, because people make mistakes. But you'll never know if you don't try. Being disruptive isn't a bad thing unless it's filled with negative energy. What you want to do is bring all the positiveness that you have within you to the table. Make people feel good about who they are and what their capabilities are. That's what leadership is about. It's not about just having a crowd following you just so they can show up. It's about adding value to their lives, to the community, to their businesses, to the things that they do. What you find is that you are your best self when you look back and you see the benefit of what it is you've done. I want to tell you a quick story. A few years ago, my ex-husband said to me, I met this kid and I think that you need to meet him, that he would do good meeting you and being able, and you working with him. And of course, since it was my ex-husband, I'm thinking, what is he up to now? But this little voice in the back of my head said, okay, he said it's a kid, so let's see. He had started to mentor this young man, and I say young man, but at the time he was a child. He was in middle school, but he was very disruptive and he was on his way for sure to juvenile and then to prison if there was not another direction for him to take. And when I first met him, I looked at him, he was taller than me already, and he was maybe 14 or 15 years old, if that old. But we started working with him as a team. My ex is brilliant. He's crazy, but he's brilliant. He's a delightful crazy, but he's a brilliant man. And so he started working with this young man. And because my ex is a really big guy too, he wasn't intimidated because this kid was a big guy. And with me, you know, I'm Mama Evelyn. So I just started to speak positiveness into his life, to tell him that he was smart, that he was capable, that he could do what his mind said, whatever his mind set out to. And he needed to do it in a positive way, that he needed to read more and know more. My ex started to build his vocabulary and help him read newspapers and get engaged. And suddenly one day we looked up and the light had come on. And this precious one started to understand that he had value and that he was smart. He went from failing in middle school to graduating from high school with a 3.8 GPA that got him into college with a scholarship. And I helped make sure that he would get into college because I happened to know somebody. But he never failed me. He never made me that it took to get him to that point. And we nurtured him right through, and he graduated from undergrad, majoring in criminal justice at the top of his class. And this past May, I traveled to Baton Rouge to watch him graduate from law school. Stop procrastinating. Time is now. You cannot get time back. I don't care how hard you try. I don't care how fast you think you can work. When it's gone, it's gone. So take advantage of what is going on in the now so that later on you can chill and go fishing. Listen deeply. Speak sincerely. Perform your purpose willingly, not begrudgingly. Don't make people beg you to use your gift. Too many times I sat in the choir stand listening to folk begging folk to sing. If God gave you a voice, use it. Don't make people beg you for your gift. If you know what it is,